What's going on, everybody? It is March 27th, 2018, and today we're going to be talking more about the three basic parts of a mix. Yesterday we went over panning and width, and today what we're going to be covering is depth. Now, depth is created by multiple factors. One way you could create depth is with volume. So, the concept in digital music is the loudest instrument will be the clearest instrument. It will be the closest instrument to the listener. So, maybe the lead vocals are the loudest instrument in the mix, or maybe the drums are. So whatever you set to the loudest volume, remember that's gonna appear or feel the closest to you in the mix. It's gonna be the most detailed because it's the loudest. In digital music, the loudest instruments will be the clearest, and as you go down quieter volume, it's less detailed. It becomes a little blurrier, which is okay. Now, when you're setting your volumes, like I just said, if you're bringing your volumes down to a really quiet, maybe it's just like a background pad or something like that, you could set that quiet in the mix, and that will make it sound wider. That will make it sound farther back. It's just really interesting concept that I try to approach with every song that I'm mixing. You have it's kind of like a bleacher effect where, kind of imagine you have a triangle. This would be the closest listener, and as the song you add other sounds, they're kind of stacked behind it, and they get wider and wider and wider. And then whatever's on the back row should be the widest sound, and it should be also the farthest back. It should probably be the less detailed. And remember, as it gets closer, the loudest instrument will be right there, loud in the mix and right in your face. So hip hop, especially if you listen to songs in hip hop and you're wondering, well, how do they get the voice to sit on top of the mix like that but still be inside it? Well, that's they could have done it with just volume alone. They've kind of caused that kind of effect with compression. They could have done that with EQ. So, all right, going back to your closest sound versus your loudest sound, and then you have all the other sounds in between there. So, say the lead voice is the loudest sound, so that's going to be the closest sound to you in the mix. Maybe behind that is kick, snare, hi-hat. And then behind that you have the guitars and bass, or maybe it's hip-hop tracks, and then you have the like a keyboard sample or something like that. That should be stacked farther back. You want to be creating a 3D image. So with that said, one thing you can create with using depth is reverb. That reverb will make the sound feel like it's in some type of simulation of a room. Whether it's a room with high ceilings or it's a really close, tight quarters bathroom. It could be a church, or it could be a Buffalo Wild Wings. Whatever, you kind of in your head, you're kind of imagining. This is my personal favorite part of mixing, is playing around reverb and other effects, trying to get create new feelings and maybe bring out the vibe more. So, you listen to a lot of hip hop stuff today, and most of the music is kind of being covered in reverb, and it's really cool. It kind of reminds me of the 1960s even. Back then, if you listen to a lot of songs, they have a lot of reverb. I think it's because they were experimenting, is all different reasons. But I feel like that was rock during the 60s. I feel like hip hop is going through that phase right now. It's been around for 20, 30 years now. So what you can do with reverb is a few tips. One thing I like to do is I usually put all the reverbs in the same room. If I'm putting a reverb on the voice, and then I'm putting a reverb on the drums, and I'm putting the reverb on the music, I'll tend to put all the reverbs in the same room. I find it gels the whole vibe together. It gives it one like really distinct color. and one distinct feeling. I mean, there's been times too where I've thrown like a non-linear type reverb on the vocals, but everything else is in like a hall. But typically I don't do that. Like I said, I just find that when everything is symmetrical, it's smoother, it's clean, and unless I'm trying to go for something that will jump out, then that's the option that I would explore. Now there's another thing, you know, with these videos that I'm making, and and I feel like a lot of the other videos that you might see on YouTube or Facebook or whatever, it's like we're we're helping you out, we're giving you a good advice, but I don't think you should be holding on to any of this. I don't want you to be holding on to anything I'm teaching you. I just want you to try it out, learn from it, and then move on. The reason I say don't hold on is a lot of times you'll be watching these YouTube videos or Facebook videos, and they'll give you all this advice and everything, and then when you try it out on your own and it sounds weird, it makes you kind of feel like, oh, is it the right song or am I doing something wrong? You know what I mean? And if you're not aware of it, you'll feel like it's just you're not doing something right the whole time. But really, there's a lot of context that you're missing on why they did those effects, or even I feel like a lot of people complicate things, and this isn't just music production. I feel like this is life. As long as you're aware of this, this should help you a lot. I feel like most people overcomplicate things on purpose, so you keep coming back to them. And, it makes them feel good. They make money. It makes them feel important, whatever the case may be. But, people make things complicated on purpose so that you feel like you need to go to them to learn instead of realizing that you have all the tools in front of you. So that's just some food for thought. Getting back to get depth. Reverb is a great idea for, like I said, emulating a room, whether it's a bathroom, a hall, a Walmart, But you could also make reverb in a way that people haven't heard it. Try to make it sound like it's in a space or something crazy. Like, that's where your imagination comes in. We'll be covering a lot more about reverb. That's literally like a whole separate topic. It's just that it plays effect in creating depth. Maybe you already went through the process of getting your volumes correct, but something just doesn't sound far back enough, or there's not enough distance between the lead voice and the lead instrument. So one thing you could do would be to throw a reverb on there, and then play around with the parameters, the decay, and pre-delay, anything like that, in order to get a clean mix. Also, with reverb, be really conscious of what the reverb is doing to the groove of the song. Bypass often, very often. Every time you do a tweak, just bypass it quick. See if you're making the song better or making it worse. You can play around with the pre-delay, and that will create different slap effects, or the opposite of that. So if you put reverb on drums with like a fast pre-delay, you could hear some really cool slapping type aftertones created by the reverb. So that's a cool idea to try out. What else? You create depth by EQ. So right now the frequencies of my voice are being shot at the recorder in the phone at full force, full volume. Nothing's stopping it from producing full tone. But now if I do this is in a sense an EQ. I just EQ'd my voice because those same signal or frequencies are being manipulated now because my hand's over my voice. You follow me? So that is one way to create depth, is just by EQing. Maybe get the background voice cut out a little bit more of the high end from the background vocals, and that will let the brightness of the lead vocals shine through more in the mix while pushing the background vocals farther back, which creates depth. Same with sounds. Maybe you have a shredding electric guitar, but it's just too bright and it's covering up the lead vocals. You could always just kind of cut those out, and then that will create distance between the lead voice and the guitar. What else for depth today? Just manipulating the punch of a sound can make it sound closer or farther back. What else can we do for depth? Yeah, I would say the biggest thing with creating depth is volume and plugins. You know, in compression too, but we're gonna get into compression another time. So yeah, with that said, I hope you like this video. Give it a like, give it a comment. Feel free to share it, and I'll be posting up more videos soon. All right, have an awesome day. Talk to you soon.